Well, hey guys, welcome to Life with Gaz, and in this video today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Obviously you guys are used to me fishing, but today what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a bit of an experiment and a bit of a project. So I'm going to make an Ecosphere. I've got a 5 litre airtight glass jar just here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with water from the tide line of the Blackpool beach. Now when I fill it with that, any microorganisms, any small animals that make it into the jar will be sealed in with that airtight container, and then we're going to see how that ecosystem develops and evolves over the course of the next year, maybe even a little bit more. So if you want to come with me, we're going to go to the beach now. So guys, now I've made it down to the beach, I've come right down to the water's edge at low tide. Now I've got my bucket. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and scrape this bucket along the bottom, just taking a fine layer of sand and getting the water I need to start this Ecosphere. Then once I've got that, I'm going to use my bait pump, which is this, which I use for getting worms out of the soil when I'm fishing, out of the sand when I'm fishing. And once I've pulled a few of those up, I'm going to end up hopefully with some subterranean life, which you find underneath the sand, to really give this Ecosphere a good chance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pump down in the water, one pump at the water's edge and then one pump a little bit further, about 5 metres in from the water's edge up the beach. So now I've got the building blocks for my Ecosphere. What I'm going to do next obviously is collect a few little bits of debris from up the beach, bits of shell, a couple of stones and also a bit of algae to kickstart this Ecosphere. But in the bucket here I've got the famous dirty water of Blackpool, which obviously you can see has got very little visibility. Now that's because this is a surf beach, and with a surf beach obviously it stirs the bottom up all the time. So when this is sat in a jar and there's no wave movement, I think this is going to clear fairly quickly. So there I've got a few of the bits which I'm going to put in there. I've got some rocks, a few little shells, and now I'm just going to go a bit higher up the beach to where a little bit of algae grows on the wall, and that'll be me done. So just here's the algae. I'm just going to pluck a little bit of this off of. I'm going to try and get it out from the root, or try and find something which it will actually stay submerged on. For instance, these dead barnacles just here. If there's anything attached to that, that would be absolutely ideal. Now you can see in here there's lots of little fish moving around and stuff like that. Now I'm not trying to get hold of any of these fish for the Ecosphere, as I think they'll be too big and have too much of a load on it. But what I'm going to do is just see if I can get a couple more little bits off like this, and try and avoid things like this little crab which is shedding his skin just here. So there you go guys, just after the setup I'm going to go and move this up to the windowsill where it's going to live. Just got to wash the outside of this down, obviously a few little bits of sand out there, but as you can see that water is as murky as anyone ever expects from Blackpool. But what we're going to do is let that settle, come back tomorrow and see what colour it is. So what I'm going to do is just explain to you a very sort of simple sort of idea how ecospheres work. So you start off with the plants and algae, which are in turn eaten by the animals, and the animals poop. And then this is broken down by bacteria. Now the bacteria, once they break this food source down, they create nutrients for the plants. Now the plants, they produce oxygen. By producing oxygen, the animals can then use this. The animals then release carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide is used by the plants. It's a very simple way of explaining it. It's much more complicated than that, but that'll do for this video. So there's the windowsill the jar is going to call home, and it's on a frosted glass just here. It gets the sunlight through it, but I'm hoping that it doesn't get so much sunlight it cooks the jar. So there you go, settling on the bottom there, you can see all the particles just dropping down, and that water is going to start to clear. But this jar was created on the 14th of August, and what I'll do is do an update, hopefully every month if interesting things happen. So there we go guys, we are now 24 hours after I set it up. The water's still got a bit of a cloud to it, but most of that sediment has settled, and you can see it just sitting on top of the sand just there. And it looks like there is a little bit of life going on, because it looks like we've got the beginnings of a little burrow just here. But keep posted, we'll check back in about a month's time, and we'll see just how this jar is progressing. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also ring the bell, and you'll get all the notifications of my upcoming videos and be able to track the progress of this jar.